Hello, I am the Mad Libertarian, and this story has me pretty mad. M-A-D, not M-A-D-D. So, just to show my personal bias, I happen to be a big fan of Judge Napolitano. I happen to have a lot of his books, and it seems that he has been canned by Fox News for making these statements. Let's watch.
Napolitano. Judge, what do you mean he can't prove it? I thought he could prove everything. We have all the American surveillance and technology at our fingertips.
Okay, so the statutes authorize the President of the United States to order the surveillance of any person in the United States of America without suspicion, without probable cause, and without a warrant, meaning he doesn't have to go to a court to do it. So he can order the NSA, which already has the digital version of our phone calls, to transcribe the digital version into a transcript and give it to him. But if he does that, there's a record of the order.
Right.
So 3 intelligence sources have informed Fox News that President Obama went outside the chain.
Okay, so let me stop it right there. Now, he says 3 different sources have came to Fox News. And as we'll see in the article that I'll pull up here in a minute, Fox News is claiming nobody has came to them, not one. Now, do you believe that this judge is a liar? Or do you believe the corporate network is lying?
Of command. He didn't use the NSA, he didn't use the CIA, he didn't use the FBI, and he didn't use the Department of Justice. He used GCHQ. What the heck is GCHQ? That's the initials for the British spying agency. They have 24/7 access to the NSA database. So by simply having 2 people go to them saying, President Obama needs transcripts of conversations involving candidate Trump, conversations involving President-elect Trump, he's able to get it. And there's no American fingerprints on this.
So you're saying that the British used their version of the CIA to...
He's not saying that. He's saying his sources said that. That's a big difference.
to wiretap Donald Trump's phone or
Well,
tower.
it's not a wiretap. The concept of plugging a wire into a phone box in the basement of a building is what the law was when these statutes were written in 1978. Everything is done electronically now via computer. The NSA has 24/7, 365 access to every mainframe computer of every telecom and every computer service provider that does business in the United States. And they share that with various intelligence agencies, including the Brits. So the British intelligence agency had this. What happened to the guy who ordered this? Resigned.
Incredible.
3 days after Donald Trump was inaugurated.
So Trump might be right, except for the fact who did it. Unbelievable. That according to your sources. Judge Gray.
According to the LA Times, Fox News judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano has been suspended from the network due to his comments, which we just watched. People familiar with the situation, who could speak only on condition of anonymity, said Napolitano is not expected to be back on the channel. Controversy began with a tweet from Trump, as usual. And, Napolitano claimed that 3 intelligence sources all told Fox News. Now, I would be inclined to say that he is telling the truth and the network is lying. Napolitano is standing by his comments, however, saying he reported what the sources told me, reported it accurately, and I do believe the substance of what they told me. Now, that's a really short article, and there's not much to the story yet. I just wanted to break it as soon as I could. I happen to be a big fan. I own a couple of his books, and I've read them 2 or 3 times. He is a great man and a great libertarian. Now, he has been in hot water with Fox News before. He had a show, The Freedom Report. And after he had some choice words to say about the government, they took that show down and made him just an analyst. And now it looks like He kicked the beehive one too many motherfucking times. And they're kicking his libertarian ass to the curb. Well, I say, Judge, don't go to the Blaze. Don't go to any other network. Start your own channel. Start something. Magazine, newspaper, a channel, YouTube channel. Fuck. I know you're old and you've fucking been a judge and everything else, but I don't know. Get your words out there. Do something. I'm going to close this out with the 5-minute speech that led to him being canned. The plain truth. This is the Mad Libertarian signing off after this. Good night and good luck.
Government work for us, or do we work for the government? Tonight, what if the Constitution no longer applied? What if the whole purpose of the Constitution was to limit the government? What if Congress's enumerated powers in the Constitution no longer limited Congress, but were actually used as a justification to extend Congress's authority over every realm of human life? What if the president, meant to be an equal to Congress, has instead become a democratically elected, term-limited monarch? What if the president assumed that everything he did was legal just because he's the president? What if he could interrupt your regularly scheduled radio and TV programming for a special message from him? What if he could declare war on his own? What if he could read your emails and your texts without a search warrant? What if he could kill you without warning? What if Supreme Court justices no longer looked to the Constitution to determine the constitutionality of a law, but rather simply to what justices who preceded them thought about it? What if the rights and principles guaranteed in the Constitution have been so distorted in the past 200 years as to be unrecognizable by the founders? What if the 50 states were no longer sovereign entities, equals to each other, and parents of the federal government they voluntarily constituted? What if the states were mere provinces of a totally nationalized and fully centralized government? What if the Constitution was amended stealthily, not by constitutional amendments duly ratified by the states, but by the constant and persistent expansion of the federal government's role in our lives? What if the federal government decided if its own powers were proper and constitutional? What if the Constitution were no longer the supreme law of the land? What if you needed a license from the government to speak, to assemble, or to protest against the government? What if the government didn't like what you planned to say, and so it didn't give you the license? What if the right to keep and bear arms only applied to the government? What if posse comitatus, the federal law that prohibits our military from occupying our streets, were no longer in effect? What if the government considered the military an adequate dispenser of domestic law enforcement? What if cops looked and acted like troops and you couldn't distinguish the military from the police? What if you were not secure in your person, in your papers, and in your property? What if federal agents could write their own search warrants in defiance of the Constitution? What if the government could decide when you were and were not entitled to a jury trial? What if the government could take your property whenever it wanted? What if the government could continue prosecuting you until it got the verdict it wanted? What if the government could force you to testify against yourself simply by labeling you a domestic terrorist? What if the government could torture you until you said what the government wanted to hear? What if people running for president actually supported torture? What if the government tortured your children to get to you? What if government judges and government lawyers intimidated juries into convicting the innocent? What if the government could send you to your death and your innocence meant nothing so long as the government's procedures were followed? What if America's prison population, the largest in the world, was a cruel and unusual way for a country to be free? What if half the prison population never harmed anyone but themselves? What if the people had no rights except those the government chose to let them have? What if the states had no rights except to do as the federal government commanded? What if our elected officials didn't really live among us, but instead all had their hearts and homes in Washington, D.C.? What if the government could strip you of your rights because of where your mother was when you were born? What if the income tax was unconstitutional? What if the states were convinced to give up their representation in Congress? What if the government tried to ban you from using a substance in your body that is older than the government itself? What if voting didn't mean anything anymore because both political parties stand for big government? What if the government could write any law, regulate any behavior, and tax any event? The Constitution be damned. What if the government was the reason we don't have a constitution anymore? What if you could love your country, but hate what the government has done to it? What if sometimes to love your country, you had to alter or abolish the government? What if Jefferson was right? What if that government is best which governs least? What if I'm right? What if the government is wrong? What if it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong? What if it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave? What if freedom's greatest hour of danger is now?
Is now. What if the tree of liberty needed to be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants? It is a natural manure. I leave you with that. Please like and subscribe. I have a lot of different videos coming out, but I had to talk about Judge Napolitano. If Fox News really fires him, they're letting go of one of the smartest minds that I know of. Thank you very much. Once again, good night and good luck.